I hope that long sleeve shirt motherfucker's here today, cause I need a vape. Um, there's a guy who watches and he likes it whenever I have long sleeve shirts on. Anyway, I finished a manuscript. I've been sending it out to agents, but like the problem I have with my book is the problem with the rest of me. I'm I'm not digestible. I'm not like like I get it. I'm rough to listen to. It's an eating disorder book. It's like my fantasy eating disorder, and it's just like I made whenever my mom went fucking crazy, I was talking to my little brother, and he said, "Dude, when mom goes fucking nuts in your book, make her actually," cuz there was a time, I don't know how many of you saw my crazy ass mom video, but cuz it was a fun one. I mean, like there's not a dull day, but she went so fucking nuts that for like a day we thought she killed her boyfriend. So he was like, "In your book, make her actually kill your boyfriend." I was like, "Bet," and that's what I did. And I want to get it, like it's kind of upmarket. It's like a psychological horror almost, and it's gonna be a hard market. But the thing is, like my whole life, every time I watched a fucking eating disorder movie, every time I watched a fucking it always said you can't love anybody unless they're healed, and that's like one thing that I really like. I really don't like how it's like abandon your friend when they need you most. Like that's like the most prevalent thing that we say in society, is that you don't deserve to be around people and you have to be completely separate. We need to put you on a train and we need to get you a tattoo and we need to get the fuck rid of you if you can't be the way that everybody wants you to be. Which is something that I disagree with. And I know that I made like a really bad hyperbole that people don't like. That, I mean, like fucking for real, like I'm not even allowed to like fucking be up anywhere. It's not even that I'm not, like, I'm allowed to, but I'm not allowed to. You know, like people have been like messaging me, well, people don't even want you to make music and stuff because you're mentally ill. Okay, can you imagine saying that to a schizophrenic person? Can you imagine saying that to a fucking autistic person? Can you imagine going, "Oh, you have OCD? You're not allowed to be in this space." You can't. But like junkies and anorexics, like they're like it's all your fault. It's within your power, and you have to go fix it. And it doesn't really. It's not like that. And it's like, well, I mean, we don't want to be here anymore than y'all want us to be here. So whenever everybody tells us like just go fucking throw away, you know, your garbage, go fucking fuck you. Like then it's like okay. I think that anorexics get so much fucking heat because like there's not an anorexic epidemic. There's not an eating disorder problem that is prevalent in the world. The thing is, everybody's fucking fat, and people don't like it when there's somebody around that reminds them that you can fucking lose weight without Ozempic, asshole. And I really think that that creates a lot of problems with anorexia, because I think most people, like whenever they look at anorexic documentaries and stuff, whether they admit it to themselves or, you know, whether they admit it out loud or not, I think a lot of people are thinking, how did they do it? You know, because like everybody kind of wants to just a little bit. But I think like one of the things that people really don't get is, or they kind of get, but like everybody has anorexia. Everybody, you do. Everybody has it. Like, have you ever felt a little bit insecure about your weight? Like, that's just a little bit of it. Like, everybody has like, you are bipolar, you are sociopathic, you are a narcissist, you are all of those things. But it doesn't become a disorder until it starts interfering with your life. Like, anybody could be any one of those things. Like, that's, and I think that that's something that people are like, yeah, fucking right. Well, I'm not. But then it's like, you are, though. Like, it's just, it's part of the human, like, having a faulty, fucked up brain is part of the human experience. And, the thing is, like, we tell people all, the fucking time that, I totally, I don't know what the fuck I'm remembering anymore. I remember back whenever, my channel first blew up the first time, and everybody was, like, into Shanny, and everybody was into, like, all that Eugenia stuff, and then everybody came down here God damn, they said the stupidest fucking things. Everybody was, like, a fucking investigative journalist who knew everything about everything. All of a sudden, they were like, oh, she's doing this, that's proof of whatever. Like, I couldn't have, like, my brain couldn't space out because, like, I'm probably, like, fucking ADD or something, I don't know, like, or, you know, my brain is, I don't even think, I think that things are happening sometimes, and then, like, we're just like, it's that, but I mean, like, the DSM, like, some asshole started that in the fucking 50s, it's different across every fucking country, it changes all the fucking time, and I would really take all of that shit with just a grain of fucking salt, because, like, I have had they've given me OCD, ADD, PTSD, bipolar, but I have said this a bunch of times before, but what you get diagnosed with, it's a fucking trend. It's like doctors and stuff, they like start studying one thing and they get, because when Asperger's came out, I got Asperger's all the fucking time. And now it's not even fucking in there anymore because, like, Asperger's was invented by a Nazi. And, like, that's like a whole fucking thing. It's a lot, like, everybody wants to oversimplify it to, like, I know I just made this video, but everybody wants to be like, oh, well, my ex is a narcissist because, being somebody's ex is a symptom of narcissism. But back in the 80s, like, everybody, like, if you really get into a conversation, if you've had any bar conversations, and, you know, I used to be a bartender, so whenever, I first started and people, like, would start bitching about their exes and stuff back in the early 2000s when I very first started, like, not in the early, but like 2012 or 13, it was still narc and bipolar, and the older people, to this day, all the old people are like, oh, they're bipolar, because in the 80s, bipolar was narcissism. And you will see it, like, in a trend within songs and shit, too. Like, the Katy Perry song that came out, like, there's this, someone called the doctor, there's a case of bipolar, like, that's, bipolar was still kind of making its trends around that time, and, like, you can kind of gauge it by that, because, like, whenever Hot and Cold came out, that's when doctors were like, you're bipolar, like, everybody fucking had bipolar. And, like, you'll go into a psych ward for fucking slitting your wrists, and they'll be like, bipolar. Like, you don't get 5 seconds with that fucking doctor. And that's not a diagnosis either. Everybody fucking thinks that you go to a therapist, they, like, say, oh, you have this thing, and that's that's not how a diagnosis works. A diagnosis is done by a panel. It costs $1,000, and it only exists for insurance and disability purposes. That's a diagnosis does not fucking mean shit. I hate it when people are like, you weren't diagnosed, and I'm so smart. Oh, that drives me fucking nuts. Like, no, like, seriously, any asshole on this world, like, anybody is just as credible as a fucking psychologist. Like, I know that irritates people. I know that's a bold statement, but I have sat down with many a shrink, and those motherfuckers are fucking stupid, and they do not know what they're talking about. They have their pet little theories. Every asshole will slap something different on me. If somebody sits there and then we have a back and forth discussion on it, that's one thing. Like, usually, I can get, like, somebody to entertain, like, therapists don't get mad whenever I say stuff like this. Therapists usually are like, yeah, but then everybody else, Everybody else just knows better than like, and it's so funny because it's like, oh, you're not diagnosed, but I know better than a therapist. I can diagnose you. You can't diagnose. I can diagnose it. I can like say you're not, and that's so fucking stupid. A self-diagnosis it's easy to do. Self-treating is hard, and that's where you need a professional. Like anybody, you can Google it and you can fucking figure out what you have. Like you can. Anybody can do that. Anybody can, like, if you Google your symptoms for anything, if you can't figure out what you have, you're fucking retarded. Like that's it. But like if you start Googling shit that is going on, like you should be able to accidentally find out what you have. It's not hard to do. It is not hard to figure out what the fuck you have. It's not hard to figure out if you're autistic. It is not hard to figure out if you're borderline or any of that shit. But if you put all of that shit down under a microscope, it's all so vague. It's all so fucking stupid. It all makes no god. It's like the more you find out about it, the more you realize it's all bullshit. Like it's all just like little tiny flavors of the same thing. I honestly think all access to is just autism. It's just autism that got fucked up. And it's just like different ways that you could be a fucked up autistic person. And I think that autism in general, it's just evolution. I think that every single person in the entire world within the next couple hundred years is going to be fucking autistic. If they're not already. Like you can be walking around with what we're calling autism, which I think is like totally just wrong. I understand that there are like some people that are like really weird about it, but I still think that we're just calling it things and not really understanding them. I understand that like patterns of behavior have been kind of like studied and discovered and whatever, but I still think it's a lot more convoluted than that. I don't know how much of it is really a psychological disorder or how much of it is just like a not really fitting into to social disorders. And I really I don't like how people are like, love and friendship and people are only for the healed. Like, only people who are okay can have this. Like, that drives me nuts. I don't think that's okay. I don't think that's a good thing to tell people. I think people run away with good advice. You know what I mean? And they take it to extremes and they don't really understand what they're saying whenever they're telling somebody, like, cut somebody out of your life or whatever. Like, that should be an absolute last resort if what they're doing is truly affecting you. I mean, like, for someone like me, I don't think it makes any fucking sense. Like, yeah, I got problems. But, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think my baggage is really that bad. I know I come on here and trauma dump a lot, and I kind of wanted to do another video about trauma. I don't know, like I just sit there and I think about stuff. This is just kind of me getting shit outside of my head. And is it right or okay for me to come on here and exploit my own problems and my own trauma? I don't know. I don't know if that's probably. I think there's good and bad things, but like going around back to my book, like my book is like 100% just a trauma dump, but I mean, does it still deserve to be told anyway? I think it does, as long as it's out of my mouth. I sent it to my brother, and because you know he's involved in it too, so I just wanted to make sure he was okay with everything that I said. And like so far, because I made him a girl and he was just like, oh, am I hot? And yeah, so I'm trying. I don't know. It's good. It's so like, oh god, I could just like this past week being like, okay, I have a manuscript, so now I go find an agent, and then it's just like, that's confusing and weird to do. Like, it feels so easy to find their names and email them, and it's like, are they reading this? Am I sending this to spam bots? Am I doing it right? Am I like, it's weird to try to. I looked up self-publishing, and holy shit, that's like, no wonder so many assholes are trying to get their fucking self-help course out of there. Like, really, literally, Self-publishing is like playing the stock markets. Like, remember whenever I tried to gold dig that old dude, I was like, how'd you do it? How do you play the stock markets? And this motherfucker was like, it's real easy. First, you gotta have like $500,000. And then I was like, oh, well, fuck that. Then, I'll just go fuck myself. So he, like, got a company built up where he had a couple $100,000. He invested them into separate different ones, and they went up and down until he had $20 million. So I don't know if he actually knew how to play or if he just had enough money to invest in it. And he said, just don't freak out. Like, they'll go up and down and they'll go up and down. They'll go up and down every day, and just don't freak out about it. What the fuck did I bring up stock markets for? Like, it's still, my head is all over the place. I'll figure it out later. Okay, I'm done talking. Bye.